Welcome back to Development Weekly. Now it's the Spotlight segment where we take a look at specific initiatives embarked upon by relevant stakeholders. Now, yesterday, October 16, was World Food Day, and as the global community marked that event, Nigeria still faces worsening food insecurity, with many more people experiencing severe hunger and struggling for survival amid rising food inflation in 2024 compared to the previous year, according to the World Bank. Now, besides the many initiatives driven by the government towards mitigating this issue, private individuals, foundations, and NGOs have also committed efforts aimed at providing solutions. One of such is the Lagos Food Bank Initiative, a non-profit, private-driven initiative committed to fighting malnutrition and hunger through targeted programs that seek to improve the nutrition and food intake of people, including pregnant women and their infants, students in public primary and secondary schools, and the youth in the underserved communities. Now, joining us to discuss solutions to some of these challenges with regards to food in the city of Lagos specifically, and by extension Nigeria, is the President and Executive Director, Lagos Food Bank Initiative, Mr. Michael Sunbola. Good afternoon, Mr. Michael. Thank you for joining us on Development Weekly this afternoon.
Yes, good afternoon. Thank you so much for having me. I look forward to the conversation.
Now,
thank you.
We'll start by getting your thoughts with regards to the immediate problem of scarcity of food and the challenges therein. We know a lot of the factors that have contributed so far, inflation being one of them, amongst many others. But to get your thoughts first off, before we move on, let's talk solutions, low-hanging fruits, or immediate solutions, if you like, to some of these, issues to mitigate them going forward as far as the city of Lagos is concerned.
Yes, thank you very much. The issue that we are faced with in terms of food availability, the gap between affordability and availability of food, the challenge we are currently faced with in terms of food inflation, high cost of living, insecurity, food scarcity, the demand not meeting with the production, a whole lot of factors causing food scarcity in the country and also driving the price of food beyond the reach of the ordinary man. It's quite an issue that has, of course, driven a whole lot of our population into poverty. And most importantly, I think there was a report recently that says that more than 172 million out of 205 of our population cannot afford a healthy diet. And, it's quite sad because when we cannot afford a healthy diet, that means our health is at risk. When we are well fed, it means that we won't be falling ill as often. And especially for children, it means that their cognitive development might be at risk as well, because children under 5 are affected when they are not well nourished, and then they don't grow up to become a productive adult. So basically, these are all the challenges. But now let's look at what possible solutions that we might be looking at as individuals, and as a government, as subnationals, and stakeholders, basically, and even as a citizen, right? I'll take it first from the policies of the government. Recently we heard that the government, removed the duty on importation of food, or some type of food, maize, sorghum, and the rest of it, to make this food available in order for the price to crash. And I don't know if that has become implemented yet, but it was announced, and that we are hoping to see, hopefully, that there will be more grains being imported. It was supposed to be a short-term relief, right, for the food to be available, and we're hoping that maybe that might crash the price of grains, but we are not saying that happen in reality. Okay, so what we are might also be looking at is some of the interventions of the government as well on farm, on supporting agriculture and the rest of it. So if I take it further, these policies and intervention of the government might have a long-term impact, but the impact might not be readily immediate, like for someone, a family that is hungry, to have access to food like almost on the spot, right? There are economic policies that would have impact maybe much later, right? So, but now people are pressed. People, vulnerable population, senior citizens cannot make ends meet, cannot withstand the harsh economic condition. So we looked at what can we do as an organization. Let's start training beneficiaries on how to start a backyard farm. Let's also make food available in such a way that a family of 5 can have access to food that can feed them for 2 to 3 weeks, and give them some form of hope to live. So if we are looking at low-hanging fruits, right, a whole lot of them are available, right? And one also is the fact that the government, of course, needs to look at how prices of food may be controlled, and of course address the problem of insecurity, and allow farmers go to their farms, to farm. So basically, those are my thoughts, and we might want to maybe dive deeper into some of these issues. Thank you.
Yes, let's even delve a little deeper. You've spoken about some of the, contributing factors and some of the things that the government has done, and a little bit of what you've done in terms of training and empowering beneficiaries to be self-reliant, as you were. Let's talk more a little about that. I reckon that your organization, has partnerships in your remarks, in your forthcoming remarks. You can highlight a few of those that you do these things in conjunction with to make sure that you contribute your quota towards attaining perhaps food security, if anything, for the city of Lagos alone. So give us a little bit more in that regard, some of the initiatives that your organization has spearheaded in recent time. I mean, yesterday was World Food Day. I know that you had a program, but the build up to that, can you walk us through some of these?
So essentially for us at the Lagos Food Bank, our role is to bridge the hunger gap and make food accessible to the most vulnerable population who don't know where their next meal will come from. And for us to achieve this, we leverage on collaborative partnership with individuals, corporates, and multilateral, bilateral organizations to bring relief to vulnerable population. And all we've done is to make sure that we become that very transparent, reliable, trustworthy vehicle that helps to pass these resources to the vulnerable population. So far, we have a nutrition program that targets malnourished children under the age of 5 and lactating mothers, and we work with primary healthcare centers to identify these beneficiaries who would then give intervention to, and then put them on this meal plan for like 2 to 4 months, and they will begin to see changes. We also have an initiative that helps to train women to start a backyard farm, and we train them on planting vegetable farm, chicken and snail farm, and we set them up, give them the foundational investment seed into starting it, and then they take it up, they take ownership of it and take it up, and then fend for themselves and their family and earn income. This, of course, is able to improve their economic status. We have another program that targets children in low-cost private schools. We feed them 3 times every week. This, of course, is to help them improve concentration in class, increase their cognitive, their nutrition, basically help them become more healthy, and then help them concentrate in class and also increase the attendance of those schools. So that is like a school feeding program targets our young children. Another program we have is the one that targets diet-related diseases, those with type 2 diabetes that, of course, can have specified type of food they have to eat but can't afford it. So we at the food bank provide this for them. And then we have a program that targets food waste. where we have a lot of food wastage happening both at the post-harvest level, at the processing level, at the retail level. All of this, we try to look through the entire value chain, and then identify where the wastes are happening, and then we salvage it. We have a cold chain storage, very, very sizable, that is running 24 hours, that help us preserve this food, and then we have them redistributed. We work with farmers in communities to salvage their surplus produce. All of these are initiatives that are interconnected, right, to address the problem of food insecurity and help nourish our society.
Food shortage that we still have that issue of wastage. I mean, we don't have enough, yet it's being wasted. And you've talked about the initiative, but I'm also curious as to other smallholder farmers and what they have to deal with regards to issues like post-harvest losses and whatnot. A lot of them don't have access to some of these quote-unquote high-tech or this, conventional or modern day equipment with regards to storage of these produce, as it were. So how do we reach out to these people? How do we help these people? Because in no small measure they contribute, to the wider to the feeding of the wider majority, as it were. So how do we reach them and make sure that they don't keep having these sort of challenges, which eventually have knock-on effects?
So, issue of storage has been there for a long time for a lot of our farmers. And at the moment, I know there are a few interventions by the government working with some coaching alliance corporations to help farmers. But I think we still have a long way to go in terms of the storage, and cold chain storage to avoid wastage that happens with small scale farmers across the country. It is one of the major challenges that farmers are facing. The fact that most of their foods, their goods, their produce are perishable, and they don't have that storage facility to keep them or get them before they get to the market, and there's a lot of them get wasted on their farm. So how do we address this? I know that the government, of course, they have plans in terms of addressing this issue of storage, but I don't have it all fleshed out. And I know for a fact that it is something that is still like a long term, and all the government can do for now that is most feasible is to ensure that the roads are good so that the farmers can get their goods across all the way to the market where it is needed, and then it doesn't get spoiled on the road while trying to transport it. But the cold chain storage is still like a secondary or a long-term kind of goal that might not be achieved now because it is still very much and very highly capital intensive.
Speaking with us this morning, Mr. Michael Sunbola, for your time. We do appreciate it. Many thanks again. Mr. Michael is the director, and he's the executive director of the Lagos Food Bank. He's joined us in a conversation this afternoon on Development Weekly, talking about the issues that we have, or challenges rather, that we have with regards to food security in the country. Spoken also about his organization, the Lagos Food Bank, and what they have done so far in addressing that particular concern, which is still very much ongoing and which still very much plagues Nigerians. So before you go, Mr. Michael, very quickly, in a few words, I know that what happened yesterday was typical of your organization, but in the near future, what do we expect to see, courtesy of the Lagos Food Bank, with regards to this same issue? Are we going to have more partners joining? Are we going to have more initiatives? Just in a few words, just in about 30 seconds to a minute.
Yesterday, to commemorate the World Food Day, we had a whole lot of campaigns going on. We had food distribution, we had partnerships, and then I was also on a national TV, calling on the government to make our rights to food more justiciable, and then calling for the government to amend the constitution to make right to food, illegal right of every citizen. So we are looking at pushing some of these policies out there so that we can have a more concrete statement by the government that yes, this issue of food insecurity can be addressed and they can be held accountable to their words. So it's more of a policy thing. And we are also going to be doing what we can on the grassroots, to ensure that while we are calling for some of these policy changes, we are also reaching the vulnerable people to keep their hope alive before we see these policies become a reality that will have an overall impact on all the citizens. So
Once again,
thank you.
thank you, Mr. Michael Sunbola, for joining us on the program today. We do indeed appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Sunbola is the President, Executive Director, Lagos Food Bank Initiative, and he's joined us to give us his thoughts on the prevailing challenges as well as preferring solutions going forward. That's it on today's edition of Development Weekly. Of course, it does come your way every other Thursday at 1 p.m. Do keep a date with us next week at the same time. Again, thanks for watching. I am David Chiedu. Have a wonderful day.